You're listening to the Luminate series on the Forward Faster podcast, providing bite-sized insights for entrepreneurs in the optics, photonics, and imaging sector.
Thanks for listening to Forward Faster. This is Sujatha Ramanujan, Managing Director of Luminate New York, the largest accelerator for startups in optics, photonics, and imaging technologies. The 50-plus companies in our portfolio are tackling really important challenges across industries. One of those companies is Sertl Optics. With me today is Ian Gauger, Chief Operating Officer, and Jennifer Sertl, Director of Marketing. Welcome, Ian and Jennifer.
Thanks for having us.
The team at Luminate knows Sertl well, but why don't we start by giving our listeners a quick overview of your technology and what is Hydra and how did your team get started?
So at Sertl Optics, we develop novel panoramic imaging systems for a variety of different use cases. Really what makes our technology unique is our patented approach to combining fields of view within the optics rather than trying to do it after the fact in the software. Our team and company really got its start with our founder, Zach Niazi, a graduate of the University of Rochester Institute of Optics, and this idea for this technology he had and started working on. But it really wasn't until 2019, the Luminate program, when he got some external funding and decided to relocate to Rochester, New York, and I came on as the first employee, that the company really got its start. Hydra, which you mentioned there, is our first product. We've developed a prototype system, and we have our first commercially available system, which will be coming out next year. That's a 360-degree system used for creating cinematic VR content.
So I'm going to ask you a little bit more about that. When you say what we do is capture the image as opposed to do it in software, why is that so important? What does that bring to the table that you can't get through software? For
a long time, when people have been trying to figure out how to create these spherical views of the world, they've been using kind of traditional cameras that are not meant to do that and saying, well, we'll just fix all the problems with software. And that's a really computationally intensive process that takes a lot of time and money to do correctly. So our founder, Zach, decided to approach the problem and say, well, why are we using these types of lens systems? Can we just change the lens system to make it an easier problem with the software? And, at first there's a lot of pushback from some advisors of his at the U of R, said that's not really possible. And he spent a couple years after school thinking about it. But he was able to come up with a solution where you can capture better imagery at the level of the photons and the optics so that you don't have to spend all this time trying to correct the image with stitching.
So like in a nutshell, if you had to correct it with stitching, you have to collect all this information, which is a huge amount of data. Yep. Send it somewhere. There has to be mathematical algorithms to do their best job to make it look like it should have.
Yep.
And then put it out there. And that's money. That's time.
Hassle.
That's
headache.
And may not come out looking like you thought it should.
Yeah, a lot of times those algorithms spit out and they say, this is what we think it is. And you look at it and you're like, I have two heads. What do you mean that's what it is? And it's incorrect. So we know that our system is 100% true all the time because it's literally just capturing the photons from where they're coming and reassembling them right exactly as they were.
So Sertl originally came to Luminate in 2019 with a camera for entertainment. You want to talk a little bit about how you pivoted and why, and a little bit about the funding you received to support those directions.
We still have our cinematic camera for entertainment that's available next year for purchase, but we realized that that's not the biggest market that we could address. We came in and we still have the vision and it's still something that energizes us, but we realized that in the immediate term, there's a lot more markets in aerospace and defense who have a need for our technology and our capabilities. And it was really during the pandemic when we saw all productions just come to a halt, and the people who we were talking to about cinematic camera systems just didn't have any budget anymore to support that. So we started looking around and we found out the federal government has lots of money to support aerospace applications and defense applications. And I think our biggest breakthrough there was when we got this project with NASA to adapt our technology for use from an eVTOL platform, which is electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicle, essentially a drone big enough to carry people. And on those platforms, they needed better sensors for situational awareness, basically to avoid collisions and eventually operate autonomously. So we started adapting our technology in that initial NASA project and subsequent Air Force projects to have a use case there. We then found some funding from the Genius New York accelerator just down the road in Syracuse. And as one of the winners of that accelerator, we got $500,000 to start to take our NASA prototype and adapt adapt it for the commercial UAV market.
So I know that you guys have been extremely successful in landing SBIR and federal funding. So do you want to give a little advice to startups who are looking in that space and how to apply for grant funding and what makes you appealing?
I highly recommend any startup who has a technology that they think can fit one of the government agencies' SBIR directives. It's a really great source of non-dilutive funding. We've had a lot of success there that I really attribute to the strong technical writing that we have on our team. Principally, our chief research officer, Andy Kurtz, is just an all-star when it comes to technical writing. He's one of the people on our team with over 100 patents to his name. But it's his technical writing, but also with just, an understanding of your technology and where it fits and potential applications, and getting a little bit creative when you're trying to look at a solicitation and find the best way that your technology could really offer some benefit to that agency, and then just get into work and writing the proposal.
One of the important things I've seen you've done is you hired a director of marketing to amplify Sertl's story. How are things going with Jen on board? And welcome, Jen.
Well, I think Ian can probably say better about how it is having me on board, but I would really like to share some of the things that I've been doing within the last 9 months of being on the team. The very first thing that we did is we actually created a behavioral brand, and the brand is around know-how, synergy, and innovation. I think I was employee number 14 or 15, and the hardest thing about building something scalable is ensuring that the original premise and methodology and belief systems are intact. The people on the team already have 200 patents collectively because they're such really talented and curious engineers. So taking some time to learn about what makes them so special and what they love. And one of the things that they loved is really being a self-directed team. And one of the things that we learned through Dr. Deasy here at U of R is that self-determination theory is designed around autonomy, connectedness, and competence. And so Ian and Zach have been really great as leaders in creating a culture that really allows that kind of autonomy. So that was the first thing. The second is it's such a great story to tell as a B Corp wanting to make a difference with technology for good. And so being able to help tell the story around how this technology, in addition to immersive and videography, can help support drone and UAVs being safer in the air, the ability to really create this 360 technology in a way that actually makes things safer and robots more autonomous. It's a hard job to work with such brilliant people and then be able to communicate it in a way that's scalable. But the pride of working with such talented people with such a beautiful mission is super easy.
I'm going to ask a couple of questions I ask of all of our teams. You have a business located here in Rochester, New York. You want to say a little bit about why you chose to locate here and what's available?
First of all, it's really amazing to have people like Dr. Wayne Knox, who is the director of the Institute of Optics. There's just so much talent here in optics, and Rochester is an optics mecca. We're also so very close to Griffiths Air Force Base, and the idea of being able to have the drone technology and this whole ecosystem here, in addition to Genius New York, which similar to Luminate, really helps support getting startups in this drone technology here in New York State. It feels like a trifecta between the community, the intellect, and then the access to the aerospace ecosystem is incredible. And I know synergy is one of our important things, and you're so good at this. What else do you think is great about this community?
I think beyond just what makes it such a great fit for Sertl Optics and what we're doing are the things that make it such a great fit for any startup. I'm born and raised in Rochester, but I spent some time in New York City and Berlin, Germany, and those are really great ecosystems as well. But I think when it comes to affordability and quality of life and just the community support, when you have a startup that's doing big things here in Rochester, you have so many people that are willing to go out of their way to support you on the ecosystem, and they ask for nothing in return. People who just want to see Rochester be great, who want to see upstate New York be great, and are willing to go out of their way to help companies that are growing here succeed.
Tell us a little about where you see Sertl in 5 years. Where do you see Sertl in 10 years?
We try to think more 3 to 5 year time horizon. We're working on a variety of different products. The next big one is going to be the one for the drone ecosystem, and then we want to do some more aerospace stuff after that. But I think in 3 to 5 years, we might be looking at potential exit scenarios. That's kind of the dream of all venture fundable startups. So it's not that Sertl will totally go away, but that we might end up getting acquired by a larger company and become part of what they do. Maybe like an Oculus to Meta type play. I don't know if we'll be that big, but be a successful part of what a larger company has in their vision.
Do you have any thoughts, Jen?
I think what's important for people that are listening to know is that I have been a consultant for 20 plus years, always outside of a company. I watched Sertl for 2 years as they grew and actually fought to be on the team. I wanted to be part of something that I could actually see grow, like a wave that you catch. So I think for me, it's super personal, being able to work with this team and really be part of this growth strategy. As a consultant, sometimes you talk about best practices or whatever, and I feel I'll have more integrity actually being able to put everything I know into use and actually having it be successful. That's the truth for me.
Thank you so much for joining us, Ian and Jen. It's been a pleasure. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in. You can subscribe to Forward Faster on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, and we'll see you next time.